Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing, testing, testing.
Okay. Welcome to the Board of Education meeting of November 20th, 2024. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We did not have executive session, so there's no motions. So, hello. Okay, we plan to have a shorter meeting this evening. I think it's okay to recognize we all have a lot on our plates and to manage the meeting accordingly. So I'll keep my remarks short. First, I want to thank Claire Comerford and team for taking us through the test scores last meeting and also taking us through the changes to the science curriculum. Regarding the test scores, the board will dive a bit deeper into the details of that at our retreat next month to better understand student need. A reminder to all of us that these scores are best interpreted by the district in combination with other information and in the spirit of identifying support needs. We all, myself included, should resist the urge to interpret these scores in isolation. I also want to say thank you to the cabinet and the district's staff for, over the past 2 weeks since we last met, holding elementary school parent-teacher conferences, a coffee with special education parents, a middle school curriculum night. We've had several committee meetings with community members on board now, and we have another board coffee under our belt. So the district's commitment to robust community engagement and the community's participation level is fantastic to see. I also want to congratulate the high school boys varsity soccer team, the coaching staff, and Mr. Huvane for being awarded the Boys Sportsmanship Award by the WPASOA Soccer Referee Board. Sportsmanship, which is defined as treating others with respect and generosity while playing or watching a sport, is a quality worth pursuing and something that will serve all of them well throughout their lives. So congratulations. And then finally, I wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and break. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Jerks. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Jackie. Thank you so much.
Yes. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of Wednesday, November 6th, 2024 business meeting?
So moved.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? No. Okay, next we have the superintendent's report,
Yes,
4.1.
Thank you. And continuing on the theme of thankfulness is exactly what I wrote down too. So we are looking forward, of course, to Thanksgiving holiday and wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving as well. I know many folks will be traveling and eating a lot over that break, so I hope everyone has a safe travels and a good time with family and friends. I'm having, again, brief report tonight as well, but I thought, again, in the category of my husband asking me, what do I do? In addition to meetings, I get to engage. He often watches too, so that's funny. So let's, see if he's. Yeah, he does. It's sad, I know. It's the only way he sees me. So.
Those long winter evenings must fly by.
Oh, yes. Those Wednesday evenings. One of the many things I do, and one of the things that makes Pelham special, I think, is because of the opportunity to engage with so many generous community partners. And when I think back about like what's been, what have I been doing for the last couple of weeks, that was really what I felt was one of the themes that emerged, is the opportunity for me in my role to get to connect with so many great people who support the schools in so many ways. So it's already been mentioned, wonderful partnership with our PTAs and SEPTA in particular. Most recently, we had a really wonderful coffee that I think we walked away energized from, and hope that people really enjoy that. So to have that partnership is critical. Today, I had the opportunity to join Sean Llewellyn. I myself am already a member of the Rotary, local Rotary, and Sean Llewellyn attended a couple of weeks back on behalf of the high school, and today became a member. So it was fun to be there with him. Every month, the Rotary celebrates 2 students of the month from the high school, and they invite them to lunch, so we always get to meet and celebrate and get to know the students that way. The community gets to know them. And today, in addition to that, our Interact Club leaders were there. Interact is the high school version of Rotary. So a community service-based club designed for high school students. So again, a great opportunity to get to engage with them and for them to really engage around more of an adult table and to be seen as, really contributing members of the community who believe in service above self. And additionally, at that meeting, we had our Scholars in Interact Club. Yeah, I think I covered everything. Yes. That covered Rotary for us. So that was a really nice event, and they were able to share some of their projects that they're thinking about locally and abroad. Also, we've got a couple other groups. Today I had conversation with leadership from Friends of Pelham Sports as we continue to refine the new fitness room, utilization, staffing, and plans there. We're going to be meeting again next week to continue those conversations, but again, continued to be very generous in their support, and they're thinking long-term as well, not just kind of a one and done, but how do they continue to support the schools. Claire and I will be meeting with representatives from the civics later this week as well to talk about their programming and how they continue to support the schools. And then, of course, one of the highlights of this week was held at one of the other venues that we have a lot of partnerships with, and that's the Picture House. So wonderful opportunity to meet over there yesterday, grab a bag of popcorn and watch as Kate Douglas came and as I talked and did a little Q&A session, and it was packed house with families. Especially, it was great to see all of our elementary students there. Lots of girls, but lots of boys too. Really excited about the opportunity to see someone who's a local hometown idol. Yeah. And then to see the kids line up all around the perimeter of the Picture House, and Kate stand there with every single child who wanted a picture over the course of that next hour. It was just beautiful. So that's Pelham, and that's special. And to be able to engage with all those folks is great. So as a final piece before I wrap up, in that same spirit, tonight on the agenda, there's a donation, a special donation that's being received. And I think it just, again, speaks to the generosity of the Pelham community. So tonight on the agenda, there is a donation requested for the board to accept. I'm just going to read some of these comments so that I do them justice. We're honored and extremely grateful to be accepting a donation tonight from the Lieutenant Joseph G. Levy Foundation in the amount of just over $13,000. Lieutenant Levy was a longtime Pelham resident whose children attended the Pelham Public Schools. And if Jim were here, we'd mention that the corner of 3rd and Lincoln, where what used to be the base of Pelham, of Hutchinson. We've been told by our local fire chief that is referred to as Levy Corner because of the plaque that used to be there. So this is Lieutenant Levy that we're talking about tonight. He rose through the ranks in the New York City Fire Department, eventually being named a lieutenant of Ladder 5 in Lower Manhattan. On September 11th, Lieutenant Levy was tragically killed responding to the terrorist attacks in the World Trade Center. He left behind his beloved wife, Carol, his children, Brian and Caitlin, and his stepdaughter, Carrie. To honor his memory and the heroism he displayed every day, Lieutenant Levy's family established the Lieutenant Joseph G. Levy Foundation. Over the years, the Levy Foundation has awarded more than $58,000 in scholarships to Pelham students and has donated more than $52,000 to our district in the form of sponsoring field trips, purchasing books, and other acts of generosity, for which we are extremely grateful. After 18 years, the Levy Foundation has decided to sunset its organization and donate its remaining funds to the school in honor of former middle school teacher Thomas Roxfold. Some of you may remember Rox. While I did not have the pleasure of knowing Lieutenant Levy, his legacy and heroism are remarkable. The bravery and leadership he showed throughout his career in the New York Fire Department, and especially on the fateful day of 9/11, exemplifies some of the very skills we wish to impart to our students. Once again, I want to thank the Levy family for their incredible generosity. So we'll end my report there with much appreciation to the Levy family.
Thank you. Next, we have 4.2, Board of Education Committee Reports. So,
Do you want to do safety?
yeah, we can start with yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Cool.
we had safety on November 15th.
We had safety on November 15th. And in that meeting, the topics that were discussed included technology called Bus Patrol. Even though Pelham is not a busing district, nonetheless, we do bus students who are being schooled out of district. There's some athletic busing and various other deployment of buses, and there's this new technology that kind of fits on the side of these buses so that when people when that kind of sign flips out on the side of the bus, bad actors ignore it and drive around, and it's extremely dangerous. And so this new technology is being proposed and is being installed, not at our expense, to help catch people who do that. So that is a great safety measure. There was just a recap of the expansive training programs that we have that include, but are not limited to, emergency response team training in each of the schools, locking of doors, threat assessment, do you know where your fire extinguishers are, and yes, some more threat assessment protocol training from Altaris. We got an update on the Glover Complex situation that I think continues to be a frustration for for the fire department. People kind of still have the muscle memory of parking along the roadway, and I think that tickets are going to be issued in the not too distant future, and those were the primary areas of discussion. Did I miss anything?
No, not at all. Thanks, Will. Who wants to take on November 14th, we had a joint facilities and finance committee meeting?
I could take it. So we had a joint committee with facilities and finance. Only 3 of us attended. And we had our architect come in and give us very high-level overviews of some possibilities. However, we really do need, as a board, to sort of take a deeper dive into what is needed, what we want, what are our future plans. And that's going to take some time. So we hope to have another meeting in early December, and we also would like to invite them, the architects, to come in and present to the entire board during our mid-year retreat, because we do need the entire board to understand what some of these deeper plans could look like. Because again, we have a lot of needs of things that just age-wise need to be replaced, and then we also have a lot of needs in terms of capacity. So there is just a lot for us to think about when it comes to facility and when it comes to what does that mean financially to the community, and just lots there. So we're gonna be working on this a lot for this year.
Can I jump in with a couple of things too? Thank you for that. We're working on putting together a survey that we can give out to the community to help inform the board, because many of those next steps, I think, as the board is aware, but for the public, is the deeper understanding for the whole board on the facilities needs, the financing options, but then getting to prioritizing, because there's far more needs there than we're able to fund. So prioritizing is going to be key. So I did share with the board. I didn't bring copies tonight. I'm sorry about that. But in one of my recent memos in our communications, and I shared it with the facilities committee as well, that the potential strategy of using a decision analysis model for that decision-making process. It can be pretty extensive, but what it does is it really gives you a chance as a group in a collective decision-making process to talk about what are the criteria and the priorities as we make this decision. Is it safety? Is it accessibility? Is it meeting the needs across all districts? Is it infrastructure first? So talk about what are the priorities that are going to drive our decision, separate from the actual options of what's on the table. But what are the priorities first? And then what are the different options and which best fit those priorities? Yeah. So it is a process, and it's one that would involve collaboration, but I would just encourage you to take a look at that and be thinking about, I gave you some draft examples. They're by no means, comprehensive, but just something to start the thinking moving forward. And when we decide on criteria for decision, it's usually helpful to not have more than like 5, 6. So those of you who saw the process last time, we did have a much larger list, so it did extend the time. Sometimes you need that, but I think if we can get down to probably 4, 5, 6 really well-crafted criteria, that's going to help us with our discussions.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I was in the meeting, and I think having that sort of decision-making framework would be very important, because I was reminded of what former board member Ian Rowe used to say, which was words to the effect of, I think I'm paraphrasing here, like there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs, and there's no clear direction for us to go. There are just many possible trades that we can make with the resources that we have available and the time that we have available in pursuit of our goals. So it's going to be a complex decision-making process.
So just to confirm, part or maybe half, right, of our upcoming retreat in December will be dedicated to this, so that the entire board can be up to speed and start prioritizing.
Yep.
Okay. On Monday, we had a policy committee meeting.
Yes.
Do you want to take it, or? Yeah.
We could talk about during that portion, too.
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah. We're just gonna talk about it when we talk about policies, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have several
expedite it,
policies
yeah.
on the agenda,
Yeah.
yes. We won't say it twice, okay. Okay, and then this morning, we had a personal growth and achievement committee meeting. We had good discussion. We went around as a group and went through a teacher. We each talked about a teacher that had a great impact on our lives, and came to, like, what are the qualities of a teacher who has had impact on us even today as adults. So that was a great exercise. We went through the first version, or the first statement of a committee mission statement, right? We also talked about the 8th grade science curriculum changes, again, in detail. The curriculum night last night at the middle school was very well attended. Did you say there was?
Over 70.
Over
Yeah.
70, yeah.
Stop counting at 70.
Yeah, so that's great news. And then I think, and I apologize, I had to leave a little early. I think the last part of the meeting was talking about potential updates to the humanities program.
Humanities research, exploring the possibility of adding, replacing humanities research with AP capstone seminar.
That's
And, looking into that and see how that would work, and if that would work for our school, for our students.
And that's for the middle school?
That's for the high school.
Okay.
That would be
And-
10th, 11th, and 12th graders.
And I'll just add to that, because I was at the meeting, that it was really great because we talked about how impressive and, oh my gosh, the words, powerful is not the right word, but how great the science research program
Yeah.
is, obviously, and what a great reputation it has, and the work that the students do is amazing. And having the humanities research, the idea was to have something for those students who may not be drawn to science. And in looking at something like the AP, is it AP capstone? What is the?
It's AP capstone seminar. It's the AP
Seminar.
research seminar course. So it's
Yeah.
the year one of a 2-year experience, but it stands alone.
Right.
So it would be an even switch and would require just the training for the teacher. And what, Ms. Short, noticed when she came in is this is a great opportunity for students to dive deeper in the humanities areas for research and building those research skills that can only come in handy later on, but also allowing students the choice to explore passions, as you do in science research, but in an area in which they feel passionate about. And over we introduced this, I think, 3 years ago. Over the course, it's gone up and then dipped in enrollment. And so the thinking is, how do we inject kind of a little life into the class and give it a shot to draw more enrollment numbers into the course and provide an opportunity for students who aren't naturally or on the science research path to engage in deep, meaningful research opportunities of their choice and gain those skills that will provide them, will be beneficial to them in the long term. And then, any time a student does participate in a college level course at the high school level, it only it helps them with the skills and the content that they need to be successful later on in whatever they choose to do.
Yeah, and I think one of the key points is how, how the district communicates out about this course to get kids excited about it and being able to give real-world examples of the kinds of things they could research, from the arts and literature. So I was excited about it. It sounds great.
And just real quick question, I think I know, but I'm just going to double check. So it's ideally, it becomes a 2-year progression, is that correct? And then,
It can, or it can stay as a 1 year, and that would depend on how many students enroll in the course,
Right.
and then assessing really early on to what extent that, how many of them would want it to become a 2-year. Then we
Right.
can start planning in advance.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to end up with a tiny class. So we want to make sure that the numbers are there and it's healthy, and that it's actually providing a need and addressing a want.
Right. And I raise that because of the potential budgetary implications. If it's really successful, which things often are, and we do eventually in a year's time have a viable group to move on to a second year, that's something we'd want to be thinking about from a budgetary perspective.
Yes, and that we talked about that today too.
I love the sound of this. It sounds really fruitful and great. It sounds like we're in fairly early exploration of this concept, or maybe not. Maybe it's sort of it's pretty advanced in its design. When do you think roughly, if we chose to do this, it would actually be in production, be live in the schools?
So it's a pretty easy switch. The current course, the Humanities Research course, is very similar. This just provides more structure in the AP designation. So we would look for next year to offer this
Okay.
course at the high school.
Fabulous.
The only thing that needs to happen before we can offer it is to send the teacher to training, and that would happen over the summer. So it would be a quick, and right now the teacher's doing site visits to schools who already offer the course, and meeting with teachers who teach the course, and then it creates a collegial circle for teachers who are teaching the same course. So the planning's in a pretty advanced stage, and we would be looking to offer it next year to 10th, 11th, and 12th graders.
Excellent.
Okay, do we have any other committee reports? No? Okay, so next we have the Assistant Superintendent's update on personal growth.
And I should say, I know, given the efficiency of tonight that we're looking for, I know that the board has the assistant superintendent's and executive director's full reports, as you do all the time, so certainly if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to ask, but I've asked them to streamline their reports tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very quickly, I think one thing when I looked at everything that I was thinking about for tonight, the hope in any school district is to be a learning organization in which all the stakeholders are taking a learner stance and then modeling how to be lifelong learners. And in Pelham, that's something that we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. And if we want to, highlight some things in the past 2 weeks that demonstrate that, we can think about last night, where this library was standing room only, of parents coming to learn about middle school curriculum from Lynn Sabia, Dr. Maria Thompson, Dr. Tom Callahan, and Suzanne Short, who gave amazing presentations that could only have left people knowing that their children are in the hands of people who care and who are thoughtful and plan well and have their child's well-being and academic success at heart. So people who come, the parents and the community members who come and take that learner stance is evident and demonstrated. And then throughout, I'll just highlight the professional learning. Dr. Callahan, Suzanne Short, Dr. Carrie Titone, they plan out learning experiences for teachers that are meaningful and help bring everyone to the next best place to support kids. So we just finished, 20 teachers just finished Orton Gillingham training as a 30-year intensive course, literacy instruction to support all students. We're continuously engaging in our math professional development. Math and Focus professional comes and works with each grade level throughout the year. The first version of that, we have 2 more visits for the beginning of this year. All of that's going on. And thanks to the board for supporting our Mandarin consultant, who's already been in district for 2 days working with our Mandarin teacher and has several planning meetings set up to continue that. So grateful for the opportunity to provide teachers the supports they need to show up for students every day and help them to learn and grow. And the spelling bee is on January 23rd.
Excellent. Thank you. Next, we have Assistant Superintendent's update on belonging and wellness.
Hi, thank you. Also in the spirit of, what's happening as far as learning and community, the SEPTA meeting that we had earlier in the month was very well attended. I had the opportunity to present a snapshot of our programming to parents, So that was really well attended. We got positive feedback, and the SEPTA coffee last Friday at Shea Station was just incredible. In thinking about the theme of We Are Pelham, What's Your Story, we wanted to give special education parents specifically the opportunity to share their story from their perspective. You know, what it's like as a parent of a student with disability, what the experience is like for their children. So they gave us a lot of, there's a lot of really healthy discussion, asked some questions. We walked away with some takeaways and some action steps and our ability to partner with SEPTA. So it was also a great experience. Also in line with community, last week was the recreation fair that we organized, Greg Lau organized with Scarsdale. It was an incredible, incredible event. It was something that we coordinated with other districts and invited all schools to come. So there were about 75 families that came. They were very thankful. But what was also really nice was the agencies were really thankful about the opportunity to meet families in a format that's different that they typically engage in. Typically, it's like through another agency. So they came up to us, and we're so thankful for the opportunity to really connect to parents in the community in a way that they don't typically have the opportunity to do so. So that was great. Just quickly from the counseling department, a lot of our seniors are through the process of their college applications. I'd say 90% of them are really, have done at least 1 or 2 applications or almost through their process. And to that end, we do have financial aid night next month, December 3rd. So that's sort of the next step for all families to learn about the financial aid process, the new FAFSA form, the rollout last year, which wasn't great, but had some learnings from it. So it's a good time to come if you want to hear more information about that part of your child's college journey. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Next, we have Dr. Fitzgerald, Executive Director's update on human resources and leadership.
Good evening, everybody. So as I mentioned last week, in the teacher's contract, there is a retirement incentive, and so the deadline for staff to let us know is December 2nd. And we have already had some of our master teachers actually give us some of their notice. So we are very grateful for their service, and we're looking forward to honoring them at the end of the school year, but it is still at the same time bittersweet.
Yes.
So Brian Battersby, who is our middle school technology teacher, will be retiring at the end of the year, as will Scott Brown, our middle school counselor, Maria Buckley, our middle school science teacher, Irene Gruber, our high school science teacher, and also Claire Cavalli, a colonial second grade teacher. So again, the deadline is December 2nd, so I may have more names for you at that time, but right now we are looking forward to honoring them in June.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. We don't have, it doesn't look like we have communications.
Nope.
Communications
And no
and
Jim.
comments. And no, yes, no Jim. And then no communications and comments from the public. So we'll move to 6.1. I'll take a motion to accept a donation.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I'll read it. Dr. Champ talked about it
the
earlier in
preface,
her
yep.
opening. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Pelham Union Free School District does hereby accept a monetary donation resulting from the dissolution of the Lieutenant Joseph G. Levy Foundation in the amount of $13,225. The donation is made in honor of Thomas Roxvold for the purpose of supporting educational field trips at the Pelham Middle School. Gratitude is hereby bestowed upon its donor, the Lieutenant Joseph G. Levy Foundation. And then be it further resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education of the Pelham Union Free School District does hereby accept a monetary donation in the amount of $2,000. The donation is made in honor of Thomas Roxwell for the purpose of supporting educational field trips at the Pelham Middle School. Gratitude is hereby bestowed upon its donor, Carol Levy. So thank you to the Levy family and their foundation. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we can, let's see. Let's take 6.2. Do I have a motion to approve 2024 to 2025 budget transfers?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any comments or questions on these? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? No? Okay, let's move to 6.3, motion to approve junior varsity and varsity boys wrestling shadowing for the 2024-2025 school year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Do I want to say anything about this?
I would just say
We
this
also
is, we don't offer wrestling within the district, but
Yes.
often when you have students who are interested in wrestling, it's usually a small handful, and our athletic director, Mr. Toombs, has worked out an arrangement with Eastchester. So they're not technically merging, they're shadowing, which gives them the ability to perform, to practice and to compete with the team. But because it's in somewhat of an individual sport, they're Pelham wrestlers who are with the Eastchester team. So it's a little complicated, but the short version is it gives our students an opportunity they wouldn't otherwise have. So we're very appreciative to Eastchester for this opportunity.
Okay, that sounds great. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so,
And I should add, I believe, I'm doubting myself right now, but I'm pretty sure these are both female students who want to wrestle. And,
Oh, yeah.
which is very, it's actually very
That's
common with
really cool.
wrestling programs to
Mhm.
have a couple girls that would want to compete. And that's all within the typical mixed competition guidelines.
And I'm very proud that we found a solution,
Yeah.
because we're such a small district in
Yeah.
comparison when it comes to some of these niche sports,
Yeah.
that I'm very happy
Yeah.
that a solution was put on the table, so.
Great. You know, and I know if ever the budget had the space, I know that wrestling is a sport that all of our athletic directors have said over time that Pelham is a prime district to support a wrestling program because of the typical profile of the wrestling student and the typical profile of a Pelham student are apparently a lot of overlap. So maybe this will be a start of something bigger. But again, I agree. Very thankful that we could find a solution for these students.
okay, so let's move to section 7, which is policy monitoring and governance. Well, there are several policies to go over. Let's go with we'll start with 7.1, which is the first reading of the Medicaid compliance program policy.
I can take that one.
Okay.
Sid, of course, feel free to dive in whenever you want. As I mentioned before, at our prior meeting, our policy service gave us an audit with about 29 policies, so we're working our way through that. So we discussed last time some policies that whether we're going to move forward or not. We decided for, I think it was about 4 or 5 that were not. But this first one, 5574, is one of the required policies per the audit. The odd part is we don't actually file for Medicaid reimbursement. So working with our legal counsel, what they did is they drafted a policy to meet the requirement that would be in place should we ever get to the point of filing Medicaid reimbursement. And a lot of that has to do with we don't meet the threshold for the requirement. And if we were to do it, the juice, we don't get enough juice for the squeeze to do it. If Jim were here, I'm sure he would say that phrase. It just wouldn't net enough return on funding to be even worth the work to submit. Is that accurate, Tracy? Yeah, okay. So this policy positions us to be ready should we ever need to, or be in a position where we're required or it would be financially beneficial.
So there's no like operational impact of
No.
these
No.
policy changes? Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So that was the first reading. You
Yeah.
have you've seen, it's pretty heavily redlined.
Yes, and a lot of that was because of our unique situation.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So next board meeting, we'll have the
Okay.
second reading, but maybe we could waive the third
Sure.
potentially.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, then 7.2 is, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
should let you make the motion.
Yeah. 7.2, do I have a motion to adopt the resolution for policies 1210, 1610, 1611, 1630, and 1640. These are all of the district's election-related policies. And the motion is to remain as last adopted there's no revisions, so without revisions. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Great, and I will add, these, certainly, we discussed the value of putting these up in front of the board, maybe on a regular basis, just to make sure that all of our policies around election procedures are up to date and really solid. There is one clerical change that we're going to make on,
yes.
and Val, was that 1210? Or can you remind me which of those?
Sid caught it.
Yes, a stray they. Thank you. 1630 will
Yeah.
have just a clerical change, nothing substantive, but we had an extra word in there.
Sid's an editor.
It helps to have an attorney on the policy
Help
committee.
myself.
So these basically are coming forward with no change other than that clerical change, because they are in order from last year. We did a review last year as well on
Yes.
most of them. And all of this is policy that's driven from the state level. There's very little discretion that the district has, and as a district, we've been advised not to add to this, to do
Correct.
anything that might, disenfranchise people. So we follow the letter of the law as provided to us by the state and certainly through council's guidance.
Okay. Any questions on those? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? No. Okay, so now we move to 7.3. So do I have a motion to rescind and delete a Board of Education Policy 5240, school tax assessment and collection and senior citizen property tax exemptions? We'll explain. We'll
So
explain why
moved.
we're
Oh,
deleting.
yeah, I
Second.
was going to say.
So moved?
She moved, I
Oh, you
seconded.
moved? Okay. You seconded, okay.
So why are we rescinding it?
Yes, so the council's advice to us on this one is this is the purview of the town tax collector. This is not really our purview. So it was recommended that we delete it as it's not something that we need, and it's covered by their purview. I don't know if there's anything else beyond that.
Yeah, no, I think, in other districts, sometimes they do their own tax collections, but
Right, we do
since we
not.
don't,
We don't.
it didn't make sense to have a policy around it.
Yeah. Okay, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions?
Thank you, and that's one that came up from the audit as well. 7.1 and 7.3 both came from the audit.
Yeah.
So we're already making some good progress on that. And we have a large list already lined up for next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Um,
that,
No, I just wanted to say thank you to the policy committee because you guys have done the audit and really, such like changes in the policies or removal of policies that just, don't apply to us. It's very helpful as you guys go through
Yeah.
the policy book. So I'm really thankful for all the work you've done.
Thank you.
Thank
And I would
you.
say thank you to the cabinet too, because of the aggressive timeline and the massive amount, we've set ourselves some really good benchmarks, and they were great about, doing the administrative look, working with the attorneys, getting that back to Valerie so that we can have everything ready, do as much pre-work coming into the meeting to make them as efficient as possible. So thanks to them for that.
yes, this is my first year on policy committee. It's very efficient, so
Yeah, me too.
I'm happy to see that. One other policy that I guess we're working on, right, is the wellness policy. It's
Yes.
not ready to bring, but we're working on that now.
Yep.
Is that a new policy or not?
No,
No,
it's
just
an
an additional
Reworked.
audit revisions.
Okay.
I would just say, I think we try and be efficient with those meetings, but I feel like we have actually pretty extended, thoughtful discussion on a lot of those
That's a good
topics.
point.
So,
Yes.
thank you to the committee members for making the time to do that.
Yes, the discussion, we do have thoughtful discussion, but I think it's only possible because so much pre-work was done, was done ahead of time. So, yes, I'm thankful to everyone for this. Okay. We can move to section 8. We can take 8.1 to 8.4 as a consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve 8.1 to 8.4?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Do we have any comments or questions on those?
The only, I know Dr. Fitzgerald highlighted the retirement, so
Yes.
again, same thing, we're, bittersweet and wishing these folks, great next chapter of life, but I think Ms. Sabia is going to be doing a lot of hiring this summer,
Yeah.
she and her administrative colleagues, so we hate to see this level of skill and expertise go, but we do wish them well. The other thing I was going to highlight is we have many winter coaching positions are on the agenda tonight. So I think it's important. Mr. Toombs has been doing a tremendous job to try to fill those vacancies, still finalizing a couple last things. He's also been working with Dr. Fitzgerald's office to really make sure that we are more buttoned up on our coaching certification. And there were some changes at the state level in that process as well. And so I just appreciate the partnership that that office has been to him in adapting to the new regulations and helping the athletics office as well as the coaches through that process.
Yeah, that's a lot of appointments.
Yes.
Mhm.
And this is one of the smaller seasons, so fall is the big lift.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, any abstentions? No. Okay. Do I have a motion to, so let's go to 9.1. Do I have a motion to approve Schedule D?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
10.1, does anyone have new business? No? Okay. And we don't have communications and comments from the public, so I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
I think, wait a minute, are we on record for the shortest meeting?
I think we might be.
8:17.